What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes coming at you here on a fight week. Bellator 268 is Saturday, October 16th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Showtime. You got to catch it. Our guest here is 1/4 of the semifinals, one half of the actual co-main event. Corey Overtime Anderson, who's going to be facing Ryan Bader. What's up, Corey? How are you?
What's going on, fellas? I'm good. How about yourself?
Good, man. Hey, let me ask you something. If a fan were to, as I know you're in Arizona already, so let's say a fan were to just walk up, doesn't know too much about MMA, and you give him a picture, and he says, "I'm going to root for you on Saturday," but then he asks you a random question, and just goes, "Hey, man, what do I look out for? What do you bring into the table on Saturday?" Someone who's a novice fan, what would you tell him?
Ground and pound. No, I say as you watching me, just make sure you pay attention to my wrestling. I'm pretty good at putting it together. And I can wrestle, I can strike, I can do it all. I'm a pretty well-rounded fighter. But the one thing that stands out most is my wrestling. So if you're a fan of wrestling, I think it's somebody you should watch.
Well, you definitely added some striking skills ever since you obviously started to season yourself and you got more experience and you are a vicious ground and pounded. But isn't it funny how a lot of things just always still play off the wrestling, whether it's the threat of the takedown or the actual takedown itself?
100%. You go against a wrestler, no matter how good his hands is, if you go against Khabib, no matter how good his striking may look, at the end of the day, you're going to always worry about his wrestling because that's what he's good at. He gets you down and you don't get up. And that's just how it is. When you're a wrestler, you grow up doing something like that your whole life. It's always custom to go back to what you know most. You could be doing great with your hands, but in just that split second, you don't even think about it. You just level change and take that shot. Or you grab the single leg or get to the body lock, whatever it is. It's just, if you're somebody like me that's been doing it since third grade, it's engraved in you. You don't think about it. As for punching, I don't think about punching as much, but sometimes you got to think about the strike or whatever you're going to do. As for wrestling, it's just second nature.
And so now you're actually fighting somebody who has a similar mindset, and it's probably not the first time, nor will it be the last. What's that chess game like, knowing that you both have those types of skills and that you both have those types of quick, reaction time and things like that to what you're both trying to do? What's that chess-like match up here in your head while the fight's unfolding?
It's just like when I used to wrestle. You just got to outsmart your opponent. You got to set him up to make the move you want to get the shot you want, or make the setup to where you think the shot is coming, where you're going to get the punch you want or the kick you want. It's just, he's looking for the same stuff. He's going to try to use his hands instead of takedown. He's going to kick, and hopefully you kick back and he'll catch the leg for the takedown. And these things. So in your mind, it's kind of like, to learn the best offense, you got to learn the defense first. So understanding the offense, you got to know the defense. Just like jiu-jitsu, I had to learn the defense before I could learn submissions. So the same thing, like I know what he does, what he expects me to do as a counter. What's the good counter for this strike? What's the good counter for this kick? Is it able for me to get taken down if I throw this? So you just got to be smart about it. But you got to be ahead of it. You can't be thinking out there at the same time it's happening. As you see that kick or punch coming, you got to know what he expects for you to do next and stay away from it.
So you kind of, obviously you got to the answer I was looking for, but you started off by saying it's just like wrestling. But obviously in wrestling, you're not getting the kicks to the head or a spinning elbow or a big right cross. So what's the, I guess the intensity, like, I guess in wrestling, you obviously could lose the match and you might be out of the tournament. Over here, you might just be unconscious. So how do you compare, I guess, the tension levels between those two different sports?
It's kind of hard to compare. The only thing you can compare is a one-on-one thing. It's mano a mano, man versus man. Other than that, like you said, it's completely different. As for wrestling, I lose a match, I might be able to come back into tournament, take third, fourth, whatever it is, wrestle back. I can meet this guy up later in the tournament. If he loses again, blase, blase. As for fighting, it's like, okay, you can get submitted, but if I don't tap, I can go get choked unconscious. I can get punched in the head or kicked in the head, get knocked out. I can get my arm broke, my leg broke. Somebody get me in the heel hook and I don't tap, then guess what? I tear my knee. Now I'm out for a while. I got to rehab. It's a completely different game. So in the same aspect, it's all about calculated risk. You got to be smart about the decisions you make. The next move could be your best move or it could be your last move. You just got to be smart about it. It's like chess. Chess, not checkers. I feel wrestling, just straight wrestling, is more like a checkers game because there's a chance to come back, and keep placing, or you lose. You can catch that guy later on and get the payback. In fighting, you can get the payback too, but when you get knocked out or you break something, it could be career-ending. So that best move, that move you make, might not be worth it.
I just thought of something. It's somewhere in between a wrestling match and the old days, like about 150 years ago, when two men would be at a saloon, and if they had a problem, they'd go, let's go outside, and it was pistol time, 10 paces, and that was it. You know what I mean? So in this case, someone's not going to get sniped per se, but again, the removal from consciousness or whatever. So I just got to imagine, man, like at the same time that it could be tense and scary or whatever, it probably must be one hell of an adrenaline rush.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, it's intense, it's scary, it's nerve-wracking, but those same feelings are the same thing that make you go out there and perform great, or they make you go out there and perform bad. I tell people all the time, pressure bursts pipes. Pressure will break a pipe, but pressure also makes diamonds. So it depends on which way you're going to take that pressure. You can take in the good, you can take in the bad. As for me, I've always took that pressure, and it makes me show up. I show up and I show out. There's been times where I've had a couple fights where I let the pressure get to me before I stepped into the cage, and I kind of just shut down. But now I'm at the point now where I just build off that pressure. Those pressures push me through camp, and I have some of the best camps in my life. I bring in the toughest guys I can find in every martial art just to push me so they can beat me up. And then that day I get paid back, guess what? I know the pressure is turning me into a diamond. It didn't break me.
What would have been your gunslinger name back in the day? Like the Silver Bullet, or do you have one?
Let me see. I don't even know what my name would be. I don't know. I guess now they call me Big Country, so Big Country would have fit back then too.
That would have been a good one. And by the way, I know there's an age gap between you and I, but about 25 years ago, a movie called Tombstone came out.
Oh, I know Tombstone. My dad loved that movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie when they talk about that stuff, man. Those guys were nuts. Anyway, all right, let me turn it over to Goes. He's got some questions for you.
So, Corey, I know we've had fighters before say different things to this question, but they've told us before that even up until the night before the fight, they're still sometimes sitting down watching footage, learning things up till that last minute. For you, when would you say is the moment where you feel like the work is done, I'm prepared, let's go?
As we walk down that aisle to the cage, I'm studying film. My coach is in the back watching film as we work in mitts. Like, don't forget, we got to work this. Don't forget, he does this. Don't forget, we do this. And then once like, all right, it's time to make that walk. Let's go. 5 minutes, we out. As we get to that tunnel and the smoke go, and you walk up on the stairs, right then as you look at the cage, and I know it's like, okay, the work is done. We've done it all. We've done everything we're supposed to do. All the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. We're ready to go out here and make a statement.
I'm going to give you a scenario, okay? At the end of the fight, you whisper in Ryan Bader's ear, I told you so. In your mind, what would you be referencing? What's that one thing you know he cannot stop?
You can't outwork a workhorse. It's just, I'm just gonna keep coming. I'm smart. I'm good. I'm just a very well-rounded fighter, and I'm just better than him. That's it. You just can't defeat the fact that I'm just better than you. It's like you knew it was gonna happen. That's what I told you. You knew I was better than you. You had to sign the contract if you wanted to get your belt back, but you knew.
Corey, it's funny because you referenced coaching, and there may not be a coach more detailed than Mark Henry. Do you get those 1 a.m., 3 a.m. texts when something just hits them? I've heard other fighters say that.
Yep. All the time. Like clockwork. I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. One of my babies, son be crying. I look at my phone, and 10 minutes ago, Mark texted me. Like, bro, why are you still up? Like, I just got home from the pizzeria at 12:30. I'm just in the living room watching film before I go to bed. Like, don't you got mitts with somebody at 7 a.m.? Like, go to bed. But that's what makes him so good. It's just like any fighter that dedicates themselves to the game. You're in the gym late nights, early mornings. And that's just Mark Henry as a coach. And I love it. I love getting those texts. Because when you get those texts, that means you're one of his guys. That means he loves you like family. He's looking out for your best interest. He's telling you stuff to make sure while it's fresh on his mind before he forgets, he's going to make sure you know. So you wake up and you see that same thing he was thinking, and you go to the film or whatever he's referring to, and you check it out.
And do you subscribe to the keywords, the fancy words, like the baseball signals? And because he's got these words and this terminology, I guess it's different for every fighter. Do you wind up using the same terminology? Do you tell him, Coach, take it easy? I'm in a fist fight here. I'm not able to comprehend it all at the split of a second, or do you actually embrace it?
I embrace it. I love it. I love it. I remember my wife now, when I first started dating her, I brought her down to one of the mid-sessions. She did her whole career. She used to fight too under Duke Rufus. And so she came down to the basement and watched, and she was just looking like, how do you know what's going on? Like, what is he saying? Like, I don't even know what punches call him, but you're throwing stuff nonstop. Like, how did you guys get to this point? And the way Mark broke it down to me, I remember the first time I was confused. Like I said, it's like a tandem dance. The first time we do it together, we're going to be tired. We're going to be tripping over each other. We don't know what the steps are or anything. But if you do that tandem dance every day, you continue to do it every day of your career, when you retire, you're going to be one of the best at it. And that's just where we are now. We've been doing it every day for 8 years. I do movement rounds, fake rounds, shadow boxing rounds, pad rounds, and noodle rounds. And he always using the coach, calling the coach. He send me the coach. I study the coach. I test myself on him in the garage or outside, whatever. And it's like when we in there, he don't have to stop saying the code and actually say jab or cross, whatever he say. In me, it's like instant. It's like a remote control to an RC car. He calls something and I do it. It's because it's programmed. Every camp we get new codes and we go over them twice a week, constantly throwing them. I've never heard Mark say throw a jab. I've never heard Mark say throw a right kick. Since I've met him, it's always been a code. You just got to figure it out. It's like Rosetta Stone. You just got to sit and keep studying. Eventually, to come to you.
I love that reference. You know, Bader's hometown is in Arizona. He's going to have a large contingent. Just when he has the fight parties and Bellator zooms on over to his fight parties, he always does. What's your feelings on being the possible spoiler on Saturday night?
I love it. I love it. You go from when I fought Fabio Maldonado on 2 weeks' notice in Brazil, in his hometown. When I fought Shogun Hu in his hometown. When I fought Johnny Walker in New York, and the crowd was all for him. I love it. I just love being an underdog. And like I said before, I've never been a fan favorite, so I feel like the fans are always against me, and I enjoy it every time. I just love just going out there doing my thing and making them regret the fact they picked against me.
Nice. Well, I'll close with this. Our rankings over at MMA Junkie and USA Today, we cover the whole sports. We don't, I know Bellator's got their own rankings, UFC's got their own rankings. We cover the whole sport, but in examining these upcoming fights, man, I got to tell you, you're in a really, really prime position if you can not only win on Saturday, but close out this Grand Prix along with the wins you have in your past, AKA the two guys that are dancing in a few weeks in Abu Dhabi. I mean, you could solidify yourself, bar any organization, as the number one light heavyweight. I got to imagine between the $1 million, the gold around your waist, two of them, by the way, not just the undisputed, but the Grand Prix belt, along with those skins on your wall, you got to be feeling good about what the next 6 months could be looking for you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, now as you put it in the words, to be honest, since I left the UFC, I haven't looked at rankings. When Bellator posted one on Instagram, they tagged me. I just repost. I don't even look. I don't study. I haven't looked at MMA Junkie. I don't look at any anymore because in the UFC, I feel I let that get in my vision of just going out there and being the best. I was always bickering with somebody or with the UFC. It's like, how did I beat this guy? He ranked ahead of me, blah, blah, blah. As for now, I'm just going out there and just being me. And that's just been so much different in my last two performances. I didn't care who they put in front of me, what they're ranked, what they're good at. I just know how good I am. I go out there and just do that. And when I finish my career, hopefully when it's all over, said and done, and I look back at it all, like, man, I beat all those guys. I am one of the GOATs at 205. Like, I am up there. And if after this tournament, they are already saying it, it is what it is. But I'm not paying attention to it. I'm just going to go out there, be true to myself, stay humble, keep doing what I do, and just work hard and just keep getting these wins.
Well, since you're in the theme of downloading apps, that's how we connected right now. Perhaps you may give MMA Junkie a second chance. Our app is free, and you can check out them rankings if you're, looking for something to do here on Fight Week as you close in on 205, the weight, and then, of course, Ryan Bader later on. It's right there. You can see it for your own eyes. But we appreciate your time today, man. You got me fired up for Saturday night's fights.
Well, glad you guys can have me on the show. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate being here, and I'm excited as well. Saturday is going to be a fun night. I'm just going to go out there, and one thing I can promise is Corey Anderson going to come out the best Corey Anderson, the best overtime you've ever seen, and I'm just ready.
Yeah, man, your ground and pound is vicious. I can't wait to see you and Bader on display. To me, this is my main event. No disrespect to the champ and Julius, but to me, this is my main event. Thanks again, Corey. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.